I've ruined every relationship and friendship my sister has, now I'm tearing apart her family, and I'm happy about it. Posted by you/OK Marionberry 5685. So, I, 20F, have a sister. I'm going to call her Kelly because why not? She's 22. Ever since she started dating, she has also cheated, over and over again, a never-ending cycle. Her first relationship was when she was 15, and I was 13. She introduced me to Brad, sweetheart, great dude. 2 days later, she's hanging out with her study partner in her room an awful lot. I wasn't stupid, I figured out what she was doing. Heck, she told her friends. She bragged to them on our living room couch. As soon as she did that, I decided she wasn't a good person. She disgusted me. So, the next time she and her study partner were in her room, I took a picture through the keyhole in her door. They were just kissing, gross, but nothing terrible. I waited, and the next day, I stole her phone and got Brad's number. I texted him, explained who I was and why I was messaging him. He didn't believe she was cheating. I sent him the picture and asked him not to tell her how he found out. He agreed. They broke up, obviously. She was heartbroken and accused her friends of telling him. She never suspected me, why would she? I was the sister who clung to her, copied everything she wore, did, and watched. I admired her. And I kept up the act. I didn't want her knowing I knew, or what I had done. I hoped she had learned her lesson. But she didn't. The next real boyfriend came when she was 17, and I was 15. I had been watching her like a hawk, waiting for the next boyfriend. No one would date her for a while after Brad, she was a cheater, after all. Her study partner didn't even want to date her. He already had a girlfriend, and that didn't last more than a month after Brad broke up with Kelly. Someone told the study partner's girlfriend he was a cheater, weird. Anyway, in comes Steven. He's trusting, maybe a bit dim, believes everyone is good, that kind of thing. She convinced him that Brad and she had only ever kissed, nothing more. I didn't believe that, but whatever. A month in, I had no dirt. I was starting to think she had changed. Bam, she's bragging to her friends about cheating on Steven. I stayed hidden. I needed the details. I wish I had recorded the confession, but I didn't. What I did hear was her planning to meet her side piece at the park the next afternoon. We were both old enough to leave the house whenever we wanted, we just had to tell our mother we were leaving. The next day, she said she was going to the mall. I said I was hanging out with friends. I waited until she was a few minutes ahead of me and then went to the park. I got pictures of them cuddling under a tree and kissing, rinse and repeat. Steven swore to secrecy. I did show him the pictures, but this time, there was no evidence of who took them. She would have caught me with the first ones, but anyone could have spotted them so blatantly in the park. Relationship number 3, enter bad boy. I hated him. He was rude, gross, and disrespectful. This one was more questionable for me. He was clearly a rebound, only a few weeks later. But I thought he might be the type to hurt her if something like cheating happened. So, I had to get her to break it off, or make him choose to leave her without it being her fault, even though she was horrid. I planned and plotted, waiting for evidence they weren't right. And would you believe it? They were cheating on each other with the same guy. I kind of thought calling them out might just make them a throuple. I was wrong. He hated the idea of someone knowing he was gay, so when he found out she knew he was bi, he ditched so fast there was fire where his tires had been. 3 down, my sister still had no idea who was doing it, but she was suspicious, I knew. She was ranting to me, about me, and didn't know it. Then she told me her plan. She would tell each friend something different and see which story the next boyfriend got. I helped her come up with the fake names, looks, and locations. It was kind of fun, actually. Boyfriend number 4 was actually just a guy friend of hers in on the plot. He wanted Kelly so bad he'd do anything for her attention. She told friend Alexis she was cheating on 4 with a blonde dude and meeting him at the ice cream shop tomorrow. Friend Bella got brown hair in the beach. Friend Chloe got red hair in the house. And friend Danielle got bald in Starbucks. Kelly wanted me to scope out the ice cream shop. Kelly stayed home, and 4 went to Starbucks. No one was at the beach, but Kelly figured if none of us saw any friend near any building, then Bella was the culprit. We did just that. It was kind of funny getting her constant texts asking if anyone had spotted anyone yet. She was panicking because Bella and she had been friends since diapers, and she didn't want it to be Bella. In the end, no friends showed up, and she sent Bella a rant about being a bad friend and telling her exes about her cheating. Bella denied it heavily, but the friendship was in pieces. Alexis took Bella's side, saying Kelly was crazy to think it was them. Chloe took Kelly's side, saying it was suspicious that Alexis, Chloe, and Danielle didn't show up at the spots, and that logic pointed at Bella. Danielle thought they were all insane and actually accused me, pointing out that if I was the one tattling, no friend would have shown up anywhere, and since no one was at the beach, they couldn't know. Kelly was offended and said I'd never do that to her. I loved her far too much to hurt her. We were sisters, after all. In the end, Danielle went with Alexis and Bella because Kelly, in their mind, was delusional. Chloe stayed with Kelly. Four and Kelly did not become an actual couple. Kelly, thinking the rat was gone, started dating Luca. 4. Sweet Luca. His was the most tragic. She cheated on him with his twin brother. This was when she was 20, and I was 18, maybe too old for this, but not done yet. I wouldn't let her waste a guy's life. It took me longer to catch on to this one. Twin boys, I never questioned pictures on Snapchat. Never questioned the guy's looks. How could I? They were twins. Until Luca shaved his head for a friend with cancer. But his twin did not. I got a video of them in his car kissing, sent it to Luca, and wiped my hands clean. He showed her the video, and she flipped out. She hadn't told anyone about the cheating this time, not me, not Chloe, not Four. And since they were twins, she thought no one would notice. Finally, she dated Four. He was the only guy left in our small town dumb enough to. She, of course, did the usual, cheated on Four. Here's my problem, I wasn't certain he'd break up with her over cheating or that he'd believe it at all. So I waited, gathered evidence, and, twist of fate, I got a picture of Chloe and Four cheating. They cheated on her. I sent him the pictures of Kelly cheating and sent Kelly the pictures of him cheating. It exploded. She had no friends, not one. She chased them away, and everyone in our tiny town knew she was a cheater. Now, you may be wondering, why tell this story now? Because I hate her. I've hated her since I was a kid. See, we are only half-sisters. We have the same dad but different moms. Our dad cheated on her mom with my mom. My mom, whom I loved, was disabled, and my father had a better lawyer. When I was 5, he stole me from her, legally, I suppose, but my mom was given visitation, nothing more. I got to see her once a week for an hour, as she was not deemed safe to have a child. When I got older, I would sneak to her house after school to be with her more. My darling older sister caught me and told our father. We went back to court, and as a dumb 8-year-old, I blurted out that I hated my father, that he was a cheater and scum, and I wished he never knew me. It was decided that my mother was alienating me from my father. Visitation was cut, and I was thrown into therapy to fix my feelings about my father. Now, yes, I know she was only 10, but she never apologized. Even when I brought it up, she saw no wrong. My mother died a year later, and I was forbidden to attend her funeral by my father. My maternal grandparents tried to force his hand, went to court, but were shot down, told that only my mother could have fought my father, and unless they had proof he was a bad parent, they shouldn't waste their time. My father's wife had forgiven him, not very smart, in my opinion, and raised me with him. And I had my sister, whom I hated. I pretended not to. The best revenge is a dish best served cold. Now, why tell this story now? Because my darling half-sister uses this subreddit. I don't think she's posted, but she has lurked. And I'm moving out, into my maternal grandparents' home. Why now at 20 and not 18? Because today, the final nail in my revenge went into the coffin. I left pictures all over the house of my father cheating on my stepmother with various women. I'll have the dates marked on them, from the time they took me in to about a week ago. Walmart having a photo printer was helpful. And so, all I wish for is to destroy my father and my sister. My stepmother, who, I'll admit, I feel bad for, has a prenup. If he cheats on her, he gets nothing. She owns the house, the cars, the summer house. They have a joint bank account that he might drain, but to my knowledge, the vast amount of her money is in her separate account. She's rich, to the point that she paid for everything I needed as a kid and smiled while doing it. I don't know if she ever resented me, but she never showed it. She treated me exactly like my sister. But beyond that, I've also left proof that my sister knew our father was cheating on her mom, proof that my darling sister knew and said nothing. Chat logs, voice recordings, even literal receipts of gifts he bought her to keep her quiet. It's all there, waiting in the house. And today, both my sister and father are gone for the weekend. My stepmother will be home in a few hours. And I will be gone. Even if Kelly sees this within 10 seconds of it going live, she will never get home in time to clean up the mess. Edit. Okay, I see a lot about the keyhole. To explain, my house was old, built by the people in the town. Back when it was constructed, people would yell, "Help me build, and I'll buy the beer for the day." They made some dumb style choices. Every bedroom door in my house had a large hole under the handle shaped like a keyhole. It was built into a metal plate attached to the doorknob, but the keyholes do not function in any way, shape, or form as a lock. My house was so old that when we redid parts of it, we found knob and tube wiring. The insulation consisted of newspaper, old bed sheets, torn Bible pages, and more. There was even a creepy doll. Other funky style choices in this house included what my sister called a Coraline door, which originally led into a barn beside the house, but the barn was long gone. The light switch to the basement was inside a bathroom, nowhere near the basement door, while the bathroom light switch was outside the bathroom. The clothes washer drain is connected to the shower, and when the washer is running, the shower sometimes bubbles up. You have to turn the shower on to get rid of it. In the basement, the ceiling has a bunch of jar lids nailed into a piece of board because the old owners used to nail the lids up and screw the jars in to hold things like nails, screws, and even broken glass, according to my dad. The house is wacky and weird, and things make little sense. There were other odd things I don't remember at the moment, but yeah. I thought the keyhole thing was more common. I'm learning it's not, and I'm a bit surprised. Edit 2. A lot of you are convinced that a rich lady needs to live in a nice house. The house we lived in was bought when she was pregnant with Kelly. My dad's grandparents or great-grandparents were the builders, I think, not sure, maybe not. All I know is that it was his family's house for years. He grew up there. They lost it, though, and had to move. He met and married my stepmom, and they lived with her parents while looking for a place. He saw his house for sale and begged my stepmom for it. She agreed on the condition that they only hire workers when necessary because her parents taught her to spend money only when necessary, not needlessly. They had Kelly. He fixed one of the rooms a bit, but to my knowledge, no big repairs happened at that time, as they had a baby and were busy. The repairs I know of when they got me were that mine and Kelly's rooms were cold, so he opened the wall to check the insulation, which turned out to be old newspaper. The plan was for Kelly and me to stay in their room while my stepmom and dad slept on the couch until it was fixed. While doing this, he found the knob and tube wiring. We left the house while a professional fixed the electrical in the entire house, then he finished insulating. When it came to the old keyholes, my stepmom thought they were cute. The only one that was fixed was the bathroom. He removed the old-style handle, replaced it with one that locked, shoved something in the hole, and plastered or painted over it, I don't know. We also tore up all the carpet, which had 2 layers, and removed wallpaper from every room. While doing this in the living room, we found the Coraline door, as we called it. Dad told me there used to be a barn right next to the house, so he thought that's where it originally led. When you opened it, there was nothing, because the barn was gone, and they hadn't just left an open hole in the wall, but there were about 6 layers of wallpaper over that door. These repairs and projects were always happening, all my dad's doing because it was his house, and he knew what he was doing. I can't remember exactly what happened when because I was a kid. Also, you all seem to think 8 to 10-year-olds are dumb and can't hold a grudge, which is crazy because I believe I said the revenge started at 13. Sure, the situation started at 8, but I had from 8 to 13 to stew and be angry. And no, I didn't do this because a 10-year-old made a mistake. I did it because my sister never saw what she did was wrong. She told me I got a better family out of it, that my mom was in our word, that she did what was best and right, etc. And I hate her for that, for never apologizing, for never seeing how she hurt me. Relevant comments. Commenter. So, you've moved out and left evidence that your sister knew your father cheated. You also took pictures of all the women your father cheated with, but you knew and allowed your stepmother to be cheated on? Also, you left pictures all over the house like a psychopath. That might be a pain if your father came home and had to clean it up, or if he came home with your stepmother and couldn't hide them all in time. But you say she will come home and face pictures everywhere of her life being destroyed. So, you chose to torture your stepmother for being cheated on. Despite apparently hating cheaters, you chose to victimize her. Great storytelling, fake as hell, but you somehow wrote yourself into being a psychopath at the end. Ops response. If I had proved to her she was getting cheated on, I'd have been stuck with a broke dad for the rest of my life. There's no way he would have had custody of my sister, so revenge would be slim to none, and I'd still be stuck with that idiot man. I feel bad for my stepmother, sure, but her money helped pay the lawyer fees that put me in this mess, and she didn't help me see my mother, she sided with him. Commenter. Boo-hoo, so, it's okay to watch her get used and abused because you had to live with your dad, which you did anyway. So, purely selfish, just like your sister. Or, you could have stayed with her rather than your father, but again, who cares, right? As long as you get your way. But leaving pictures all over the house just to torment her was really a necessary part of telling her, right? Ops response. She wouldn't have kept her husband's affair baby if they had broken up. What world do you live in? She helped pay for my torment. Sure, she wasn't a full-on evil stepmother, she was kind in some aspects, but her money helped fund my hell. Besides, in the end, she's on top, she gets everything. Commenter. Your father went to court. Your father cheated. Your father cheated on her, and she was kind to you, the affair baby. Maybe your mother, was incapable of actually caring for you, and maybe she was alienating you by telling you otherwise. What disability did she have exactly? Regardless, you were cruel to her, supposedly, even psychopathically cruel, as you left after years of deliberately hiding the truth for your own gain, all to protect yourself financially. Meanwhile, your father, who is actually terrible to you, gets away with even more. Blaming her rather than him for him having access to her money but choosing how to use it himself, then blaming her for raising the affair baby rather than, say, forcing him to give you up. Yeah, she's the villain here. Op's response. My mother was blind and had cancer. My dad considered her getting chemo to be unstable for me, even though she wasn't. My maternal grandparents helped a lot, but they didn't have much money for a lawyer while also paying for her meds. My father's wife is rich, she had plenty of money to give him. And he gets nothing out of this, he loses her money, the house, the cars, one of which he calls his baby. He often talked about having found the golden goose. So I ruined that. Besides, I knew if Kelly wasn't an adult, she might have tried to stay for the kid. I blamed them all, every last one. She could have told him to let me go to the funeral, but no, she stood back as her husband and daughter told me to get over it because I had a new mommy, and the old one was in our word anyway, so why was I crying? Update 3 days later. Okay, hello people. You all wanted an update. The original post is getting long, so I'm making a second post about it. So, I'll start off with my stepmother's reaction. Around the time she would have gotten home, I sat in front of my phone like a kid on Christmas, waiting. To my disappointment, all I got was a text message. It said, tomorrow, lunch, favorite pizza place. It said the actual name, but you get what I mean. That was all. I was wondering if she was going to end my life. After some discussion with my friends, I went. Dumb? Possibly. Am I still alive? You could say that. So, I met my stepmom at the pizza shop I adore. We ordered, and she was smiling at me. It was kinda creepy. She asked me if I knew why she invited me out. My response was probably dumb, but I replied, to murder me? She laughed, shook her head, and told me she had spent too much time keeping my dumb rear alive to off me now. She said the reason she invited me was because she now had no reason to keep my father's secrets from me. Me being the drama dung beetle I am, I begged for info. She provided. I still don't like her, but damn. She asked me if I knew how my parents met. Obviously, I said no. She explained that a cousin of hers, who I know as Auntie Sam, was throwing a party for her friends and family. Sam was friends with my mom, but my mom had never met my stepmom or my dad. My mom was born blind but liked parties anyway. There was alcohol present, but my mom only drank pop in a glass with ice. My stepmom left early because she didn't like being away from Kelly too long, and my dad stayed. Sam introduced my father to my mother. Sam had no reason to suspect anything would happen, she was already drunk to my stepmother's knowledge. Sam doesn't know what happened from there. She didn't know if my father had gotten my mother a new cup with something more than pop, if he had dropped something in her drink, or if she had grabbed the wrong cup. Sam glanced over at some point and saw my mother wobbling, and Sam ran over. My mother was, to Sam's drunk mind, clearly intoxicated. There were lots of cups on the table, so she assumed my mom had grabbed the wrong one too many times. She brought my mom upstairs to sleep it off. That was the last time she saw my mom that night, but she saw my father a few times. Sam continued to hang out with my mother, and one day, my mother announced she was pregnant. My mother did not have a partner at that time. Sam did some mental math and flipped out, asking my mother a lot of questions, but my mother laughed it off and said she didn't get pregnant at the party but with a one-night stand. Sam accepted this hesitantly. After I was born, Sam was babysitting me and Kelly at the same time. Her red flags went off again when she saw us side by side, so she did a DNA test, one with me and Sam, figuring that if it was a family member, we would be a slight match. We weren't a match at all, and she was relieved. But Sam babysat us again when I was 3 and Kelly was 5, and according to my stepmom, Sam couldn't stop staring at us. So, she did another test, this time with me and Kelly. She got the results, and her heart sank. Me and Kelly were a match. She said nothing for a bit, occasionally asking my mother questions, but she couldn't hold back and eventually told my stepmother, who blew up at my father. He claimed he was drunk and mistook my mother for her, that there was consent, but it was a mistake and happened only once. My stepmother agreed to forgive him on the condition that he be part of my life. She said she thought he'd admit my mother wouldn't want to be near him, but he and my mother went to court and reached an agreement. My stepmom said she wasn't happy with this, but she went with it. When I started getting distant from my father, she gave him money for family therapy and playdates. He used this money, plus his own, to hire a lawyer and basically steal me. By the time she realized what he had done, she couldn't stop him. She still wanted little to nothing to do with me and didn't want to get involved. Then my mother passed away, and she realized one thing: if she left him now, she was leaving me with an idiot who would probably sell me for a pair of shoes. If she left, she could take Kelly, but she had no claim to me, and I never let her adopt me, which didn't help. She tried to help my grandparents fight for me, but they were shot down, so she decided she could put up with him to protect me. Her words, I don't know if it's true. She said she didn't care now. I knew the truth. She was divorcing him, and she wouldn't have to think about him again. I asked her about Kelly, and she shrugged, saying her daughter ended up a bit too much like her father for her liking. She planned to give Kelly a few options to fix the problems she saw, such as therapy, cutting off her father, etc. But she was going to take everything from my father since the prenup they signed basically says the cheater gets nothing but the clothes on their back. Exactly what I wanted. We left it there. She hugged me and apologized for not being better, for screwing up so much, and for making me hate her and Kelly. She said if I need help with anything, to let her know. I'm starting to think I misjudged her, don't know yet, though. We parted there, and I went home. I waited and waited, and then I got a call from my dad, but I didn't answer. He texted me that I was a horrible daughter, that he wanted me out of his house, lol, and that he never wanted to see me again. That I destroyed his marriage over a dead woman who barely knew me. He was so mad about it, but I texted him back and reminded him that he had years to stop cheating on my stepmom, not let me catch him, and he could have had the picture-perfect life he thought he deserved. I also called him a few choice words on my mother's behalf. Next was Kelly. She did, in fact, find the post and apologized, not. She texted me paragraph after paragraph, calling me a manipulative B-word, saying I spent my life lying to her face over a mistake she made when she was 10. That she didn't need to apologize or feel bad. That I should have liked being part of a new rich family. That I didn't need to tell her mother anything about her dad bribing her or about her cheating. I did tell my stepmom during the meeting. That it was my fault my stepmom gave her the ultimatum, which was to get therapy, cut dad off, or find somewhere else to live. I just sent back a laughing emoji and blocked her and my dad. That was all yesterday. It doesn't end there. As some of you know, my therapist called me this morning. He asked if I had time to meet today, and I did, so I met with him. I walked in, and he turned his laptop to face me, showing me a TikTok video about me, and asked, "Is this you?" I couldn't stop laughing, and he just shook his head and said he had a lot more work to do than he thought. But he was smiling. I saw that smile. He just didn't want to tell me he thought my revenge was awesome, I know it. We chatted a bit about the situation, about how it was a bit far. I disagree, but whatever, I left. My stepmom called me later and asked for help with something. I went to her house, curious. She told me her lawyer had given my dad until yesterday to come get his belongings and get out. He grabbed what he could, and now today, we were going to have a bonfire. I asked if this was lawyer approved, and she shrugged, saying, "It's my stuff anyway. Dad bought none of it and probably can't afford a lawyer to fight me." So, we threw a lot of stuff into a pile and let the flames burn. It was kind of fun. She invited Auntie Sam over, who cried and hugged me because she felt bad for not telling me sooner, but she hated my father and wanted to be nowhere near him. I showed my stepmom the text from Kelly, and she immediately called her. She told Kelly that she had no one to blame but herself and not to pin it on me just because she couldn't help chasing nice guys away. She told her that if she wanted to stick with a decent guy, she should act less like her cheating mess of a father. Then she laid it out. Kelly had a week to decide, get therapy, cut dad off, or find somewhere else to live. She's an adult, and my stepmom can ditch her whenever she pleases. Then she hung up. My stepmom, Auntie Sam, and I ordered pizza, and while we were waiting, my stepmom's dad called her. He wanted to know what was going on and why Kelly had shown up at their house crying. My stepmom went inside to talk to him. I have no idea what was said, but when she came back out, she looked smug and just told me not to worry about it. Kelly wasn't my problem anymore. I shrugged and was like, whatever, then. Anyway, the day ain't over yet, but I have Kelly and my dad blocked. My maternal grandparents confirmed that my stepmom had been ready to sneak the money to lawyer up and fight for me after my mom died. I did confront her about not helping them when my mom was alive, but she's sticking to the story that she didn't know my father was taking them to court the second time till it was too late and that she felt awkward contacting my mom after helping steal her child. My stepmom's parents also told me not to worry about my dad and Kelly. If they try anything after this, they'll wish they had just licked their wounds and moved on. I don't know exactly what my stepmom's parents told Kelly, but apparently, they are highly against cheating of any kind and think Kelly should listen to my stepmom, cut off my dad, seek therapy, and apologize to me. I think that's everything. It was crazy for a bit there, but I'm moving on with my life, washing my hands of Kelly and my dad. As far as I'm concerned, they're done. Still iffy on whether I'm ditching my stepmom or not. She said she'd completely understand if I did, since she screwed up badly during my childhood. But she still wants to help me with expenses and stuff, so I don't know. Either way, everyone in my tiny town knows what both of them did now. Some people in my town actually found the post, not just my therapist, and drama spreads fast, apparently. And I'm owning that crap when people ask me about it because I want them to know what they did to me. I don't think my stepmom is facing much backlash. She gave all the pictures I printed off to her lawyer, who laughed at the pile and said that me existing was enough proof for the divorce, but the pile didn't hurt, especially since I wrote dates on many of the pictures, and some were relatively recent. I don't think this is as good as the original post because I never expected to make an update, and I've kinda written this as it happened. So yeah, hope this calms the drama junkies in the comments. If anything else happens, I'll probably add it here to this post. There will not be any more updates.